Wow, what are you working on, Laura?
Oh, hey, Nato. I'm just working on the same thing I do every day, which is trying to take over the world,
Wow,
reclaim my time, do work that's meaningful and satisfying, and, do things that challenge me and make me grow as a person.
amazing. So you're just like building the life that you want to live.
Basically, yeah.
That's incredible. So I guess what does that mean? I guess what have you been working on? I guess in general, what's going on at Cloud Underground and with all these things that have been going on is
Well,
always crazy.
at Cloud Underground, we've been working on some exciting changes to some of our programs, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that. And also in my own life, I've just been, working on some new business ideas because the beauty of creating systems for building businesses is it just makes it easier to build new businesses when you have an idea that you want to pursue. So, yeah, I've just been working on some new ideas.
Amazing. We brought our specialized consultant here who specializes in coming up with the best ideas
Yeah, so
ever.
follows the great brainstorm partner.
Yes, he's the mind behind all of the operations, or at least one of them. It's now I know it's one of them. He
He's
has
here.
all kinds of opinions about all kinds of things, and he's been helping quite a bit, hasn't he?
Oh yes, always.
He's like, well,
He's always
now I
contributing.
need to go help
And
by
Augustus is
providing
contributing too
treats.
in the background.
Yes, Augustus is always contributing too, always contributing in their,
Always.
in their own ways.
In their own ways.
So, anyways, yes. So, really, I guess what's the stuff in our community going on these days? Or I know you've been doing your own process through ideating, innovating, and transforming yourself and creating things for your own life and like what you want to do. Because our tools, one thing that all of you might not know, and I'll give some context here, is all of you who kind of like see us build this business, Cloud Underground, that we've built together, it wasn't really just built for us to just like work inside of this like business forever where we're just working in it forever. It was actually built so that we could go and do our own things, which sounds a little confusing because we're doing this thing together so
Mhm.
that we could all do our own things.
That's right. And there are some necessary things that you need anymore building a cloud native business. And that includes like cloud hosting and a platform in order to like do a lot of your work in a secure way. And so that's essentially what we've built. And the tools that we've created are all just tools that allow us to do business more efficiently in our own businesses. So, yeah.
Dogs. Dog
Tools
things.
for building businesses made by business builder.
Yes. And then you have all the time to do things your way on your schedule,
Hmm.
how you want to do it.
Yes.
I mean, ultimately, yeah, I guess Laura put it in a really good way is we built a business for people who want to kind of who like to do things a certain way, but really so that you can have a lifestyle that you want to have. You get to choose your lifestyle, especially for people who build like online technologies like build websites. Does your company have a website? Does your company not have a website? A lot of
You
companies
probably have a website,
have
hopefully,
websites
at
these
this point.
days. That's like the number one type of
It's
thing that
kind of nice in this online world to have a website.
yes. And so then, I guess to go with that, not only does everyone have websites, a lot of people want to build like software tools and things like that
Hmm.
too. And so anyone who's trying to build like a business that is website based or has some form of like software product, we created some resources for that. And, it's one of those things where we tell other people they can do it. But one thing we don't necessarily talk about as much is it's what we use for ourselves too.
Hmm.
So in our past episode, we were talking about other people's stories, and we're going to talk a little more about our own stories today because
That's
what we
right.
created was also just a foundation for us to just now have this scalable foundation for whatever other things we want to do so that we can kind of not just focus on as much as we love Cloud Underground, the thing that we love about Cloud Underground is that it lets us focus on everything else in our lives and not Cloud Underground.
That's
it's
right.
it's it's model, and so like I spend most of my time growing our consultancy, for example, called Underground Ops, Anyone who has been following me for a while has heard of Underground Ops. We provide professional services, consulting for things, especially if you build some for like you software building companies out there. We
Mhm.
work mostly with like enterprises, so that's what I spend a lot of my time with. But while I like to spend my professional time doing consulting, Laura has her own dreams and visions. And here we are not doing all this Cloud Underground stuff because Cloud Underground lets me run Underground Ops. And so for Laura, she can now be basically like her own solopreneur.
Mhm.
And our tools are designed not just for us, because while I use the resources that we use mostly with like enterprise businesses and stuff like that, which means that our tools are incredibly enterprise friendly, we also wanted as like us as individuals, we don't want to have our own giant teams. Like we want to be able to work with giant teams, but have the option to just never have a giant team. So if she wants to stay a solopreneur forever with whatever she's doing, or always have that sort of a project, that's up to her. That's a personal passion. Some
Mhm.
people just have different passions. I have less of the passion of just maybe being like a solopreneur forever, and I like running my own little like small things. But like, you like having like your thing.
That's right.
Laura, tell us about what makes someone like you tick. Like, what makes someone like you enjoy? When you already have a business, you already have all these things. But what is it about like having your own thing, even when you don't need to, that makes it like, yeah, I want to do this thing?
Well, counter the idea that you don't need to. I think for certain people you do need to. Like that's exactly like
Well, I don't want to
what you
confuse the
need to
audience. I
do.
don't want to confuse the
No, but
audience.
please let me speak.
But that's
But and I'm getting to the point that you're asking the question that you asked. This is all part of this. I think for some of us there is like a need to do things differently than like a more traditional path. And I think part of that is like you want the same things that I said at the beginning is like you need to have control over your time so that you can spend it in a way that like isn't just feeling like it's being wasted by going to work that isn't that meaningful to you. So I think reclaiming your time, working on things that you care about, a lot of times, and obviously in any work that you do, even if it's like an entrepreneurial pursuit, even if it's something you're like incredibly passionate, of course there's going to be things that you don't like doing that you're going to have to do. So I think there's a myth that like if you're working, your dream job or whatever, that it's like it's not going to feel like work. Yeah, it's still going to feel like work at times. But then the other aspect of it is just like being challenged and like fulfilled in life. I think those things are important.
And like maybe let me reframe my question a little more too, because I guess I'm coming from the standpoint of you who already has like a business and some of these other things. You don't technically need to go have more businesses necessarily. Like, what is it that makes, I guess, that's specific about like you, that even though you have a business and things like that, but like, what makes it, I guess, specifically, because this is what I was trying
Well,
not to confuse the audience. So if anyone's
I
going,
think there's like no rules about that kind of thing too. It's like if
yeah.
you have a lot of ideas and like I mean, I think there's like a danger of like diluting yourself so that you don't have enough time for everything. Absolutely. You have to kind of make sure you're focusing on like prioritizing the priorities, as I like to say. But like there's also just a matter of, at some point an idea will kind of come to fruition in a way, like sort of what's happened with Cloud Underground, and that it's gotten to like a much more stable place. Our we've developed the core product, which is what we spent the first like 3 years doing, and now the product is built. So we have it's moved into a different phase, and that just means that we all have more time to work on other things that and Cloud Underground can still be sustained. So it's like we have more time. So why not use that in a way that like I can do something else that I'm passionate about or create a new project or do something new and exciting to me, something that I've been, wanting to do for a long time or whatever it may be. It's like you create these opportunities for yourself when you've, built a business that is kind of unique. And so when you have those opportunities, you might as well take them, I guess.
Yeah, and so that's helpful, because I think one reason why I want to ask it that way is what we make isn't necessarily for like your first business necessarily.
Mhm.
I think I want to try to avoid creating this misconception that like what we make is for startups and things like that. It's actually our stuff is in what we do, everything we do is actually used the least by startups. And then now it's kind of becoming this thing that because we started our companies with our own tools that other people are now creating startups with these tools
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
So I think the emphasis there is like really, if you're already running a business and doing certain things and you're feeling really busy, our stuff helps you kind of get out of what you're currently busy with. And then also, if you're getting all that time back,
Mhm.
you might already be a business owner. You might already be working a busy job. You might be doing all these different things, but our resources help create something that can run whether, you're always busy. Like for example, we have like this radio station that we run all the time.
Yeah.
Like Laura, how much time does it take for you to manage the radio station and all that stuff? I guess is
Well, now that it's up and running, it's like no time at all, check the
yeah,
metrics a few times a week. If it goes down, because occasionally it does crash and you just like have to reboot it, which takes 2 minutes or whatever.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's
And we spend very little time managing the radio station.
yeah.
And so then it's like, then we can also run a business. Then we can also do some other things. We can also take on different contracts. We can
Hmm.
but then whatever you're trying to do, it doesn't mean that it like takes you away from being able to do the thing that you really want.
Hmm.
So now that you have like all of this automation around you that like lets you not have to think so much about like, okay, so we have to have contracts, great, whatever,
Yeah.
we have to have stuff like ongoing promotions, so like that's part of what the radio station automations are for, and we have
Hmm.
all these things that kind of keep things going even while we sleep.
Right.
So like now that you have all this time, what are you doing now? I guess you're in a new ideation process, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just been like,
Yeah.
thinking about these ideas. I've got a few things that I've been bouncing around in my head for a while. So it's just, I think that's kind of the first step, right? It's just like thinking it through, and then, of course, like it's the idea part is the easy part, I think, because it's there's a million ideas. I think the next step, which is like kind of innovating on an idea and making it yours, is like kind of the maybe more challenging stuff, which is also for me like the more fun part of it. So yeah, it's like first it's just coming up with the idea, and then the next part is that customizing, like the innovating on that idea and making it more unique to you and like what you're trying to accomplish essentially. So yeah, I think that is kind of what I've been working on more recently is like, okay, so now that I've kind of settled on something that I want to be focusing on and working on, how can I make it something that's like unique and different, even though it's like any idea, it's probably been done before by somebody else. So it's just a matter of how can you make it unique to you and your audience and your values and the things that you want to create. And I think the ultimate like act of then going and like once you've kind of figured that out, like how are you going to take that idea and like make it an innovative thing? I think that's when that final step of like transformation comes in of like once you start taking that action, like that's when you're creating something that's like transformative.
Right. And we're so on ideate. So right now, if we're understanding how to ideate, then your process is that you like to kind of make something that's unique to you as the creator, something that there are so many ideas of
Well, I
things
think
that have
it's the
already been done.
innovate it's the innovate
That's
stuff.
the
The
innovate.
idiot stuff
Oh,
is just like thinking about what you want to do. They're again just like choosing the idea. At least, yeah, that's how I feel about it. The innovating part is like how are you going to make it different and like more unique to you and your brand and your audience and your values essentially.
so we are learning Laura's process. So this is yes. So Master Laura has a process for creating basically new ideas that she can take to market and turn into an income. And so ideate. That's
Just so that would kind of be my Pick one. Pick an idea.
But how do people know what the right one is?
I think that's any
Intuition?
idea could be the right idea. Yeah, it's I think a little bit of intuition, but also it's like if you have 5 ideas, then maybe write like a pro con list for like which one seems, or even do like a business model blueprint exercise where you're kind of thinking about like who would the audience be, what's the product, where do you deliver this. Thinking those aspects through for each idea, and then maybe that's a good thought exercise to start with in order to figure out what the idea is going to be. And then I think maybe that is a good place to start, like, because once you have that blueprint, that's when you can start like innovating on the concepts, um and making it again like more unique to you and your idea.
Right.
And then the last step, of course, is the transformation piece. Which is just I think again in my brain, just like starting to take the action on the idea and innovate, and taking the innovative action on the idea, put it into practice and start.
So if someone were to try to come up with a new business that they're gonna, I guess you made a good one that I'm just gonna write down before I say this. Uh, let's just say in all caps here. Just just start. Just do it. Just start. I think this is important and something that we should talk about too, because that process that you're expressing, and correct me if I'm like misinterpreting some of what we are saying here, is that someone, because now you've done this for a while, right?
Mhm.
Just for anyone who doesn't know Laura, she's been building businesses for a while. She started a business, went to the Netherlands, did all these things, and so like traveled the world great, and then she went and then helped grow a startup I was working on, and then we built this much larger startup that's Cloud Underground, and
Yeah.
she just enjoys the process and doing coming up with new things and taking them to market. She's very good at that, and so yeah, you just keep doing it and you just keep making it work, and it always works. It's not magic and it's not a mystery. It's just hard work, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
is it an accident that you so happen to like be able to take care of yourself for years on end for the
No,
most
no,
part?
it is just hard work.
Yeah. So, really, as she said, pick one, right? There's a lot of ideas. And I think that it's easy to think, like, well, but what if I don't want to keep doing this thing forever? It's like, you
You
said
don't
it
have
earlier.
to,
It's like,
but
well, but you said one thing that she said earlier, that because I want to focus on like what's going to help the audience is like, because I can say this from experience, is people who don't just choose one thing, your business is going to explode and you're going to suffer, and it's
yeah.
going to be like the land of gnashing of teeth. Like, while you don't have to choose one, you can suffer, and that's just not worth it. It's better to just choose one. And one thing that she emphasized well earlier is like, even if it's something that you loved once upon a time, after a while, work feels like work.
Mhm.
Work is work.
Or there's gonna be things that are gonna feel like work, no matter if your job is the best job in the world and you're completely passionate about it and you love it. Like there's still gonna be stupid stuff like taxes that you're gonna have to deal with every once in a while.
Always. Yeah, like, and so, like, even if the one thing that you chose, like, if you're building a business, you're not really building a business, like, in a sense, you're kind of building it for you, but, like, you won't get sales if it's not, like, for someone who's, like, an intended audience. So,
Right.
ultimately, how do you avoid that trap when you're ideating, Laura? How do you avoid building something that's too much for you to the point to where, like, you're not gonna get any customers?
Well, I think a big part of it, like we kind of talked about with Aster and like that Rad Hash video that we collaborated on recently, is like the whole like beta building process. You have to oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Something I was gonna say about this. Oh. Um ask me your question again. Sorry.
So, like, it's pretty
Live
common that,
television.
like, someone will try to start a business, and then they'll come up with, like, an idea that isn't
Okay,
necessarily
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's too self-serving and not
Yeah.
not audience serving.
I think what you have to do is create a community and create an audience. And if you don't have one yet, then that's fine too. Just start. And you'll start attracting an audience. But I think
Mhm.
it's part of just like it's communicating with the people around you and the people who are hopefully ultimately going to be your core, community, and people who are gonna like purchase your product or whatever it may be, or your services, or just consume your content. It's important to just communicate with people, and also keep an eye on your metrics. Like, ask your audience, but also ask your data. what Because a lot of times, if you're not getting clear answers from the people, like, you can look at the numbers and the data and kind of also extrapolate to a certain extent from that. So
Yeah, and I think that's well put. As I'm trying to just decide where to put that. Anyways, but she said it well. Like, yeah, just ask your audience what
mhm.
they think, and if you don't have an audience, start trying to figure that part out, because what you build has to inevitably have buyers one day, and don't make it a mystery. Like, it's I think people think that they have to guess or assume or discover
Right.
what's reasonable.
You don't.
Yeah, you don't really have to do that. So then, like, in terms of like innovating, um, you know, almost every idea, it's like Laura said, almost everything's been done before, and someone's done something before.
Mhm.
So it's not going to be that. Chances are it's not that creative. Like, if you're making a podcast, it's not that no one's ever made a podcast before. There's so many podcasts, but it can become creative, and the innovation aspect is like, what's your spice and flavor that you add to that
Right.
podcast, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so then I guess, to summarize the last piece there of like just going from this idea to trying to like add your spice, add your flavor,
Mhm.
then I guess what you're currently working on is moving toward Laura's moving toward her next transformation, which we're going to learn more about as she's going. Uh, but the transformation is like, now you're taking action on the things, and you're starting to like see results. You're starting to like actually see something happen from just taking action, just doing the actions. Would you say that the actions are what caused the transformation? Is that
Yeah.
maybe the way to put it?
Yeah, that's how I take it, is like the transformation comes from like putting all of the pieces together.
That makes sense. Anyways, I guess in terms of, how could someone just start? Because what we're going to do today is also kind of talk about one of the transformations that Cloud Underground is undergoing. Is Cloud Underground, once upon a time, was one of those things that we ideated and were like, let's build a cloud by
Mhm.
teaching cloud, and that we should in theory be able to fund it. And then we, within the first month of like launching things, we had customers, and then those customers like led to referrals to more customers, and then we ended up with more and more over the years. It's business, is generally how
Mhm.
businesses grow. And then of course you have to be able to continue to fund it, so it's like, now you're like trying to keep up with customers, trying to keep up with whatever's funding all your stuff. So you're keeping up with the funding, keeping up with the customers. And what caused us to innovate was, since we were building something that was like, for anyone who doesn't know what cloud is actually just servers that are in a remote location. They're just like put somewhere. And so if this is such a common thing that, big businesses and smaller businesses do, we wanted to find a way to innovate. And for us, we wanted to create a platform that gives so much control that even like a solopreneur can do the types of things that you might otherwise need a big team for.
Mhm.
And usually that's handled with like insane amounts of automations. We're like, well, okay, we're gonna have to spend years just automating the things that someone otherwise needs like tons of funding for or a big team for. And we're like, what if we could make the thing that one person could start, and if they decided they wanted to stay a solopreneur forever, they could still scale anyway as a solopreneur. Which, Laura, do you think that you'll always have solopreneur projects that you'll grow?
Probably. I think that's more my personality in a lot of ways. I like
Yeah.
working with small teams and having that like full control over
Yeah.
everything. So
And so
most likely.
And so for us to meet the demand of our own needs, it's like, if we're building this thing, and like for Laura to be able to have her life and her future and visions that she envisions,
Mhm.
she can't be messing around with all these things and have to deal with like a giant team. And she just wants to make it all happen and make it all possible. And while we can't just like click our heels and snap our fingers, we can absolutely build our own software, and we can automate all that pain away.
Mhm.
And so then that's exactly what we did. We were like, well, what's the thing keeping that from being possible? Why don't we just make the thing that lets you do exactly what you would rather be doing?
Right.
And then what did we call it? We called it probably the most generic title ever is we called it automate boring
Oh, you should
things.
refresh that. This
Oh,
hasn't
this
been
this needs to
refreshed
be
in a long
refreshed.
time. Yeah.
Oh, we're making some
Okay.
changes. So one thing that we're going to say is our website is going through a transformation, and our whole company and offering is going through a transformation but when we're building this stuff, we actually sold more like engineering because we would sell our research to fund what we now have built. So to see what we have are now pivoting into now with our built cloud, you can automate your income, automate your systems, and automate all the boring things. So this is the new horizon that we are entering now that we built the things. Before it's like you can sell the research, and I think that's a really confusing model. I think people would always ask me, especially because I did a lot of the science behind it,
Hmm.
like, well, but people will steal your ideas. People will steal your ideas. We've been doing this for years where we just like sell our research, and I don't know, maybe people stole our ideas, but like I don't what does that mean for us other than our business growing rapidly? Because we
Hmm.
we focus on things like making sure that we have the copyrights and things like that and can
Right.
prove that we're the ones who did certain things. We organize our licensing.
We need
So if
it.
someone's using our stuff, hey, I'll go and claim those resources and thanks for the free labor if you're
Hmm.
like literally using something because you can claim something that's like quote unquote stolen truly and you're going to win that in court. So like don't worry about people stealing your ideas. Just act and just do your stuff. We don't worry about all that. We just focus on your best security in some cases is speed. And then I also come from a security background, so we do DevSecOps, but automate, automate, automate.
Hmm.
We like DevSecOps because if you have security right up front with everything you do, which is how we approach things, then it's kind of like you have guardrails for like what's the worst that could happen. Well, it can't be as bad as it might be otherwise. So you can move real fast. And if
Hmm.
you're one person and you want to do the types of things that you need a whole IT team for, you need to raise $3 million. You need to do all these different things. Like those are the kinds of projects we used to work with, and we're
Yeah.
like, how can we shave off all those demands? How can we
Hmm.
shave off the need to do those raises, the rate like yeah. This is the first time we're not working with like these things like doing the $3 million raises. And actually we still do those. We're still do we help people with their raises. And so that's probably just part of our lives now. Um, but there's a difference between something that's yours, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyways, so that's the transformation that you've now seen before your very eyes. And expect when's our official date that these when the course is released, all of our prices are going to go up, but we're going to release our model for like how do we do these things. Anyone
Hmm.
can do it. Anyone can build a business and monetize their lives the way that we do. What should people be expecting? Like what date?
Yeah. So April, or I'm sorry, May 13th is when we're going to be releasing or all the content will be finished by essentially.
Yes. So
So that's when.
let
So
me write
currently
down.
things are on our website are at a little bit of a discount, or at least automate boring things. And so yeah, if but that will be going away when all of the changes are finished on May 13th. And so yeah, get in now because prices will be going up.
You want to talk while I feel the dead air?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the changes that we're going to be making
Yeah.
or
I'm
that we're
just
working on
making
with
this up.
automate boring things and actually just the whole suite of programs in our Cloud Underground Academy offerings?
Yes. So I'm trying to make this a little more obvious or like bigger here. Let's just can we make the text bigger? I don't know. Maybe I just
Well, you
make
can
this whole
make the
thing
whole
bigger.
thing bigger.
I'll just make it big and I'll put it over all this other stuff. So you've seen these things. It's now being covered by our
Announcement.
huge announcement that is now uh, taking over. So, anyways, so expect May 13th.
Yeah. So tell us about the things that you're going to be working on or the changes that people can anticipate.
Yes. So the big changes that you can anticipate. is that it's probably going to be uh, our courses are going to be a lot more direct. Like this is exactly how to go from like building a running business. And the way that we're going to do this is we're looking for the most universal way to like start a business with just your time and then diversify your business by turning what you made with your time into a product of some sort. And so then we're building a huge package on exactly how to do that, starting with the core example of how to use your time to start a consultancy, and then how to take what you do with your consultancy to turn that into a product. And then we have different ways to go about building your minimum viable product, which then that way, you do consulting with your time during the day, and then your automated products that you build sell while you sleep, and then your marketing that you do to get your consulting clients will then also lead people to your website where they can choose to, instead of doing high ticket coaching with you, because that usually is going to cost a lot of money, or consulting or whatever you provide, because hourly always costs a lot more than buying some like video course package. Then boom, now you also can have like a bunch of video course packages. Or if you're not the type of person to make videos, maybe you're one of those software people, like what's your skill? What are you good at? Are you a software engineer? Are you a book writer? You could write ebooks. Are you a person who makes websites? You could make things like website templates that people can just purchase. But we're going to talk about how you can do that. And then what if you're just the ideas person and have to hire? We're even going to also show you a model of like how to either do everything as a solopreneur, or how to get developers who are other people who will do the work for you if you're the type to not do everything yourself. So if you're like Laura, you're probably going to be the solopreneur type. Laura prefers solopreneur life. It's just something that you do, right? And like, if she can do it all herself, even when she doesn't have to, that's what makes her happier. And she's building the business, like this is how she'd like to forge her way forward. And we built tools to make it reasonable for that to be like, even if she wants a huge, endlessly scalable business, great. If you're more like me, where I tend to prefer to work with like a team of like 4, but still not like a huge team, but I also will go and help enterprises who have huge teams that are really large, 1,000 employees plus, things like that. Then I needed something that's going to work at my scales too. So small teams and enterprise. And so regardless of whether you're building a minimum viable product for an enterprise, which is a thing that I like to do often, or if you're trying to build like a thing with a small team, or if you want to be a solopreneur, ultimately, like you can use our resources and do things the way that we do. And we're going to show like in our updates exactly how you can do all of that, and then just automate more time back into your day, automate your income, automate your business, automate more time back into automate all the boring things you don't want to do, because we hate doing things that we don't really want to do. And there you go. So I guess we have a demo if we're ready for that. Is there anything else that you want to say about our process?
Nope, I think you covered it. Yeah.
Yes. So, some fun things. One of the things that our program does is we're making some updates to our what's called it used to be called the Zero Trust Cockpit. It's now being called the Nexus Creator Vault, and there are updates being made. Those updates on the way are going to include, so in this little workspace, the thing about this workspace is it's designed to allow you, so like we're running our presentation from this little tiny workspace, and the value of it is I don't have to worry about, well, much of anything. Like I don't have to worry about having the wrong tabs or whatever. I can pre-prepare this environment. And let's say that something happens to my computer, or I need to like see if I can get someone else to help. This lets me bring in other, like basically, it's got like a co-pilot system. You can put automations and AI in this little workspace. And then it keeps all of your business resources in one place that's easy to back up. And that's sort of also like one of the most important pieces is if you're running a business, you want everything to be in one place that's easy to back up, easy to monitor, and easy to kind of like walk away from and come back to it where it's like how you left it. We like it too, also because we're travelers, and if you travel a lot and you run the risk of a device getting like destroyed that explodes and whatever,
Doesn't
then
matter.
it doesn't matter. Whatever is going on that device is up in the cloud anyways, in one of these little pockets, these little resources here. So what this allows us to do, well, we have a series of applications like, give you probably the most exciting example. We have OBS Studio here is actually what we're already running. So OBS Studio lets us run these streams. So we can build our own content by streaming, which is what we're doing right now. But let's say that you wanted to develop some like promotional content, or you wanted to make a video course or company. Hold on, I just have to find what I'm looking for. We have a number of multimedia tools that live inside of our little development workspace where we can work in a way that's friendly with basically working with like artificial intelligence. Maybe we want to make a video or a commercial or an ad. So what we're going to do is just give you like a quick sample. Like let's say that we're making an ad, we're going to do a little imaginary thing, and it's going to be a little nonsensical here because we're just kind of making it all up here as we go. But just showing you like what this is, what we have running in here. We have a number of little studio tools inside of our isolated space here. So anyways, I don't want to switch back and forth between screens too much because that can get a little jarring. So what I'm going to do instead is go on over to our little planning room here. So if you're working with us, this is something that if you take our coaching programs that cost a little more, but contain all of this stuff. Anytime you do live coaching with us in some form, this is how we start to get everything organized for your business. So this also is a resource that works with artificial intelligence, which is why we use it this way. And then we also provide artificial intelligence packages and services, and pretty much everything we have. It's probably just the era. Everyone wants AI and everything in existence now. So AI is in everything in existence from Cloud Underground because everything we do is new. And also that's thanks to GitLab, by the way. If you download the Underground Nexus, it has native GitLab AI built into it. If you upgrade an Underground Nexus, then you get what's called GitLab Duo Chat. It's an AI as well. But anyways, in here, what we try to do is guide people through this atomic dashboard for things like, to get a business that's going to work. You're going to have a marketing plan, a launch budget, launch goals, and more importantly, if we scroll down here, we have a calendar for scheduling what you're doing, but we have this business model canvas for giving you like a map of, designing like what your business is going to look like, how your business should work, like all this stuff. So this becomes like the centerpiece of like, what are all the moving parts of your business? So then we break it down to where like, okay, so your marketing plan is going to be based on whatever is going on with some stuff here. So you're going to have to promote something. So let's say that you need an advertisement, and you can come in here and maybe you have some PR assets. I don't know, whatever you're trying to do or need. You can click on this and you can choose files to upload or embed links to different things and get all of your stuff organized. But you need some content to start automating your content. If you have no content to automate and deliver, you're going to have a way to do that. So we have a whole system on how to build and automate content. So I'm going to start by showing you how to, just a high level sample of like working with AI to like, if you're a solopreneur type and you're the kind who wants to do all the stuff, then I'm going to like hand it off to Laura. Because if you're not the solopreneur type, this is probably enough for you. And then, we hand everything off to like whoever you're hiring to work with your stuff if you're not the solopreneur type. But the nice thing about having all of these resources, if you're not a solopreneur, then we bring in more people who can help you. So it's really easy to go from just doing this all by yourself to scale out to a team of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, all where only you and your team can access these resources. So it's very secure. So let's say that we wanted to go and run through that. Nowadays, there's so many AI things. You can say, AI, can you help me run my company? So let's say let's pretend that we were looking for something specific, but I'm going to do some pretty generic things here. I'm going to ask the AI for some images of business succeeding or something, but really take it with a grain of salt. Insert your own serious ideas when talking to the AI. So, uh, give me images of a business person succeeding. So you can go and start talking to the AI or whatever AI you prefer to use if you don't like using Gemini. There's a lot of options these days. And it's going to sit there and decide if it will give us images. Oh, mate, sometimes you have to have a more specific prompt. Or
It says it won't do images of people.
oh, it won't do images of people.
That's what it says.
Okay, give me an image of business success. I guess it tells you what it needs. Okay, good enough. So let's say that we just wanted to generate enough images to go and create an on-brand or on-theme thing or whatever. We can go and we can download our images here. Looks like we've got another image we can download here. Okay, so now we've got a few images that we can use. Let me get like another image. Give me an image of a bird with a graduation hat. It's like the bird succeeded. We can't get images of people, but we can get images of animals, right? We'll find out. Oh man.
Beautiful.
Maybe we also check generate an image of a bird with a graduation hat. I think that's just from the website. Let's get it to see if it'll make a custom image. All right, what's our best bird? We've got the fluffy one, the knitted one, and the toy one. You like the fluffy one? It looks a little bit like the Furby. Okay, let's download the Furby bird. Furby bird. Okay, so now that we have some images, we can go and let's say we're making like an ad. We probably need some music too. Ignore my mouse just moving way too
Well,
fast trying
do
to
you
figure
want
out
me
what
to
I'm
do
looking
this
for.
one because you don't know how to use Kaden?
Yeah, maybe this is where
Maybe
Laura
this
takes
is-
over.
And I'm not gonna go too crazy because it's like we don't have a whole lot of files in here yet because this is a new environment. So of course, um,
Let's see if it'll find a song for us automatically. Give me a song from the music archive.
it doesn't look like it. Just song.
Oh, give me an emotional song. A link to an emotional song from. I don't know. We don't have to have music.
It doesn't have. Yeah, I mean, we don't. We're not.
We're not giving.
If
a
you guys
full on
need
music.
a whole
Here,
like
go. Buy the
tutorial
course.
on how to use like a video editor, that's a totally different video. Like
That's
I'm
true.
not gonna give you that's not what we're here for, is to like give you a tutorial on how to use this tool. It's just like
Right.
this tool is here and you can use it. So a Kaden is essentially an open source video editor. It's like Adobe Premiere, if you are familiar. So that's essentially all it is. It's a way to like edit video. So I don't honestly even know where those files live that you just put in
I
here.
do, so
But
I can put it to.
there's is that it?
Oh,
There's
that's the
that's a
dog.
different one. Okay,
Actually, where
that's
did they go?
fine.
Well, give me a moment. Give me a moment to double check where they all went. We can.
But yeah, I don't want to get too like sidetracked trying to give a demo on how to use the video editor when that's like really not what this video is about.
So this should be in
but yes, you can create full videos using this program, and I've done it in the past, so I know you can because I've done it. But that again, that's a totally different video.
File. Oh, this is
That's not
the
it.
wrong tool. So let's go and grab new images.
Nope, not that one.
Okay, yeah, go to open location.
And then these are, where is it?
Well, it should be
Downloads, desktop,
just.
pictures.
It should be here. I just need to figure out why it's not showing those images.
Recent files,
Where do you see recent files?
right there.
Oh,
That's not it. It's recent locations. Okay.
oh, good enough.
That's probably
All
one of
right.
these lovely things.
Yeah, just grab all of them.
It's um and then so yeah, you can just
That's
go
the
in
recent
here.
files.
I don't know where these ended up, but it's fine. Lovely. And then you can
Perfect.
just, pull these down. This is just a standard like multi-track editor. Like again, if you want to learn how to do video editing, that's a different video. You can go online and learn all about how to use Kden Live. There's a million videos. There's some great resources. We can drop another one of these down. Of course, if you had music, you drop that into your audio track. And here you go. You have this lovely video that our faces are covering.
Amazing.
Okay, and then I'm gonna switch in a second. And there you go. You've made a nice video of something. And you can do like much more sophisticated videos, obviously, than this. You can do full productions. This is just it's a tool that's in this suite that you can use.
That's right. And so then, with this very high level example of things, get to pause. There it goes. So, with that being an example of the fact that you can then go and build marketing content plans or staff people to do that for you or whatever you want to do, then it's really easy to be like, this is where all of it goes. It goes here. Make sure that it ends up in your content planning package, and then that then also allows you to work with AI and use this as a resource to help teach your AI your marketing plan and your business plan, which is something that we teach people how to do. If you work with us, you actually have to work with us directly. So our academy courses aren't going to teach that part. That's going to be coaching focused. So we won't include that part. But if you want to do that stuff, if you want to learn the AI stuff, you got to work with us directly, which we will work with people who want the AI part of it. So anyways, then you can come in here and just do your stuff. So I guess that kind of covers the stories from the underground, and we've kind of talked about things.
Yeah, so if you want to learn, if you want to learn more about what we do, you can always go to our website, cloudunderground.dev. You can check out the RPG of Life incubator if you want to start building a consultancy. You can do that, and you can start learning how to build a free consultancy in the RPG of Life incubator on our website, cloudunderground.dev.
Yeah, build something that matters to you. Build something special. Yeah, make your dreams come true.
Yeah.